Hello everyone, I'm Miss Kay, your teacher guide for your Kannada Academy journey. Now that you are part of Kannada Academy, you must know that we strictly follow the Ontario curriculum set by the Ontario Ministry of Education. The Ontario Ministry of Education imposes a curriculum for each course. Each course developed by Kannada Academy strictly follows this, so much so that it is tracked through our learning management system, EdSpeed. You can easily access the Ontario curriculum through the course map, as well as the respective curriculum for each course is linked there. On this website, you can click on the Ontario curriculum for elementary and secondary. For more information, please watch this short explanation. In Kannada Academy, we strictly follow the curriculum set by the Ontario Ministry of Education. A curriculum directs the expectations of our students, teachers, administrators, parents, community, and other stakeholders in the delivery of a course or subject. Our compliance to the Ontario curriculum also ensures the continued operation of our school. In this video, I will demonstrate how to access a sample Ontario curriculum and how to find the overall and specific expectations for that course. Let's get started. The first thing that you want to do is to access the website for the Ontario Ministry of Education, because in this website, it will contain curriculum documents spanning from kindergarten to grade 12. For example, I'm teaching the English subject to grade 10 students. On the left panel, I click on secondary. On the next page, I select the secondary curriculum link. And I'll find a copy of all curriculum documents for the secondary level of education sorted by grade, subject, and even curriculum and resources website. I select by subject, look for English in the list. And since I'm teaching grade 10 students, I select the PDF format right under the Ontario curriculum grades 9 and 10. Take note that this is a copy of the Ontario curriculum used to teach grades 9 and 10 students. So you want to navigate to the table of contents so that you can find the specific page number where it would give you more details about the specific subject that you're teaching. So English grade 10 starts on page 69 of this document. So you want to navigate to that specific page. I'll put 69. And if you scroll down a little bit, it looks like it really starts on page 70. You will find a brief description of the course, as well as the overall and the specific expectations. There are times that the copy of the curriculum would not be in PDF format and would instead be in a digital format, in which case I will show you how to navigate. Going back to the Ontario Ministry of Education website, I'm going to show you an example of a curriculum which is in digital instead of PDF format. I want to access the curriculum for math grade 8. So I'll click on elementary. And then I'll click on the elementary curriculum. And then I select, let's say by grade. And I select grade 8. So there are times that you would see an alternative link that would say it's in digital format. And it would look something like this. So if it leads you to this website, on this section of the website, you just want to look for the grades of the curriculum that you want to access. So in my case, mathematics grade 8. I click on read online, and a curriculum document in the digital format would look something like this. So if you want to find the expectations, the overall and specific ones, you just simply select on expectations by strand. So if, let's say, I want to know the overall and specific expectations for the social emotional learning skills in mathematics and mathematical processes strand, I select it, and it's going to have the overall expectations for me and the specific expectations outline. There are two types of expectations found in the curriculum: overall and specific expectations. Overall expectations generally state the competency a student must attain in the course. Specific expectations provide further precise indicators for the student to achieve the overall expectation. Each course has to hit 100% overall expectations covered and at least 80% specific expectations covered. To understand this further, please watch this video. Each course has a set of expectations that will help us gauge how well we delivered the material for that subject, as well as the success of our students in taking the subject. There are two types of expectations. We have overall expectations and specific expectations. When we say overall expectations, they generally state the competencies a student must attain in the course, whereas specific expectations provide further precise indicators for the student to achieve the overall expectation. For English grade 10, the overall expectations are as follows: listening to understand, speaking to communicate, and reflecting on skills and strategies. These overall expectations are further broken down to specific expectations. So the overall expectation, listening to understand, has specific expectations 1.1 all the way to 1.9. Take note that each overall expectation has a set of specific expectations that follow. Our goal is to make sure that we hit 100% overall expectations covered and at least 80% of the specific expectations covered. Apart from Ontario curriculum expectations indicated in each Peer Deck lesson, it is also written simplified through the learning goals and success criteria. Each lesson has learning goals, which are the concepts or competencies targeted in the lesson. Before you get to the learning goals, you must review the specific expectations. You may now write the learning goals. Then, for the success criteria, you just remove student's will and add "you are successful in this lesson if you," as it is based on whether the student met the specific expectations connected to the learning goals. From the overall and specific expectations to the learning goals and success criteria, you can see how everything is linked. The link continues through each lesson assessment and rubric. As you know by now, rubrics are the primary way of grading students. Each rubric is designed to be aligned to the Ontario curriculum. In addition, rubrics use more straightforward language to understand the curriculum expectations and the expectations specific to that assessment. The expectations located at the bottom of the rubric show curriculum codes that we link to the EDSB gradebook. These codes correspond to the overall and specific expectations being gauged in the assessment. Let's recap how the Ontario curriculum is present in Kannada Academy materials. The Ontario curriculum expectations are indicated all throughout the materials that we are using to deliver the lessons in Canada Academy. These expectations are indicated in our peer deck lessons, assessments, rubrics, and even the EDSB gradebook. In this video, I will show how to transfer the overall and specific expectation to a sample peer deck lesson. I would also talk a little bit about learning goals and success criteria because these two are highly dependent to the expectations of your lesson. Let's get started. For example, I'm creating lesson 1.9, which is a lesson about literary essay and MLA citation. After the title slide, I should now indicate the overall expectations for this lesson. So based on the Ontario curriculum for English grade 10, I just have to select the overall expectation that is relevant to the lesson that I am teaching. In my case, I have decided to select that the overall expectation is reading for meaning and understanding form and style. So I simply need to copy that and paste that to the overall expectation slide. The next page would now ask you to indicate the specific expectations that would be met in the lesson that you are creating. So again, pick the ones that are most relevant depending on how you plan to deliver the content of your lesson. In each peer deck lesson, you also have to indicate the learning goals and the success criteria of that lesson. When we say learning goals, these are based on the specific expectations because these are the competencies or skills that we are targeting in that lesson. In this lesson, I want my students to learn about the 6 types of essays, to learn about the literary essay structure, apply the literary essay process in their writing, and write a literary essay for a specific literary piece called The Dinner Party using several different literary, informational, and graphic forms. Up next is the success criteria. So this is how students and even teachers would know that they are successful in taking or delivering a lesson. So in my case, it's very easy to create because the success criteria would just really be based on your learning goals. So if you'll notice, you just have to remove the first part, students will, and then the parts after that would be your success criteria. So if your learning goal is students will learn about the 6 types of essays, then your success criteria should be know the 6 types of essays. The overall and specific expectations are also indicated in any assessments that we create. So for this lesson, I have created an assessment of learning. I need to indicate the overall expectations as well as the specific expectations. For assessments of learning, that goes hand in hand with a rubric. And in a sample rubric, at the bottom, I would also have to indicate the specific as well as the overall expectation. One thing that I'd like to emphasize, rubrics would always use a straightforward language to understand the curriculum expectations and the expectations specific to that assessment. So notice that I have more specific language, but are still in line with the overall and the specific curriculum expectations. In this next part, you will understand how the Ontario curriculum is tracked from Canada Academy materials and EDSB. The specific expectations should also be indicated in the assessments that we upload to our EDSB gradebook. In this video, I will show you how to create an assessment and where you should be indicating the specific expectation for that assessment. So let's say that I want to create an assessment for lesson 1.9, and I want to indicate the Ontario curriculum specific expectations that were met in this assessment. So I have to head over to the class, which is Eng2D, and select on Gradebook. At the top, I have Add Assessment. Click on it, and then select Homework. On the name, just really put the lesson number, and that's the assessment's name. And then select the appropriate unit, select the type, and this is where you would be indicating the expectations that were met. So click on that arrow over here, and then go back to the assessments. The first overall expectation is reading for meeting, so select that. B, reading for meeting, and then select the specific expectation that it met under that. So we have B 1.3 up to 1.6. So just select according to what you saw there. And then once you're satisfied, click on Done and continue doing that until you have indicated up to the last specific expectation. Once you've filled out the rest of the fields, making sure that you indicate it as assessments of learning, and method of assessment is KTCA, and the weighting should be 25 for each. Instructions for students, if you have any, links, files for teachers and students, and then click on Save once you're ready to post. By now, you have an understanding of summative assessments from the previous video, KTCA video teachers, which are the graded assessments. These assessments count towards the student's mark in the course. Again, these are the assessments of learning. Teachers formally grade these activities as part of the student's final grade. For each unit, a summative assessment is in place. It can be a project or a chapter test. Each unit summative gauges more than one overall expectation. It also gauges several specific expectations focused on the unit. We call an assessment rich when it covers many overall and specific expectations. Here's an example of a unit summative assessment, and it clearly shows at the top that it is an assessment of learning, with the expectations after the learning goals. All of the summative assessments combined are worth 70% of the final mark. The rich summative task can be worth 30% of the student's grade. Therefore, the teacher can give one rich summative task worth 30% of the final mark, or one final exam worth 30% of the mark, or have both an RST worth 10% and a final exam worth 20%. Legally, we cannot give the students credit if they do not accomplish the final 30% of a course. This covers most, if not all, the expectations needed for the course. You will know the student is successful if they are able to submit this task. Here's an example of a rich summative task. Here's an example of final exam. It has 11 pages with rubrics explaining grade levels at the end. It is essential that assessments leading to this last task aid students in demonstrating everything they have learned while doing the course. We hope this video helped you understand the Ontario curriculum and its relation to all of course content. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for your time. It has been my pleasure to share information about Canada Academy International. We look forward to having you join our school.